got some news.
We got the new.
We got the new news.
The new Nintendo 2DS XL that's new.
And it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous thing. So Nintendo never content to stop with new iterations of their hardware,
especially handhelds.
Especially their handhelds. And I think in an interesting statement, which is to say that the 3DS family is here for at least another year, especially with the lineup they've been showing, game-wise, announced that they are releasing the new Nintendo 2DS XL.
New.
And it's gorgeous. It's fantastic. So the big difference between the previous shut up. The previous difference between
it's my birthday. And I can't play the damn thing again.
Just mute your computer every time.
Well, it's a Miller Lite commercial. I don't want to go on.
All right.
God damn it, IGN.
So the big difference is between the previous 2DS and the new Nintendo 2DS XL. One doesn't have that sweet wedge of bread shape anymore.
Well, let's back up because we don't want to get confused. New means that it was the upgrade to the original 3DS.
Yes, right.
3D. First there was a new 3DS, then the new 3DS XL. New just
no.
There wasn't a new regular 3DS?
Let me break it down. Okay. 3DS. 3DS XL. 2DS. New 3DS XL.
They skipped the new 3DS.
They skipped it here, except for limited editions.
Limited edition, but they did have it though somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
So what that means is it was slightly faster software,
slightly faster. Slightly faster processor. That was on the new 3DS stuff. So now we're talking about the new 2D. Let me name my bullet points. Okay.
No, you bullet.
Original 2DS. Cheaper. No hinge to break.
It was like a tablet looking thing.
Yeah, like a tablet looking thing. It had, obviously the biggest thing was no stereoscopic 3D. This was to bring the price down, and it was a perfect move by Nintendo at the time to release this for the holiday season when Pokemon X and Y came out.
And plus, for children, children might screw up their eyes of too much 3D.
That as well, and it also was a super cheap entry point at $99.99 as opposed to $199, which was what was happening at the time. Was what the 3DS XLs were going for at the time. So now we get the new 2DS XL. It has all of the benefits of the 3DS, the new 3DS XL, including the faster processor, the C-Stick. It actually rearranges where the memory card is so that you don't have to open up the back of your new 2DS XL to upgrade your memory card. You can just pop it back in the bottom again. It has a deeper cartridge slot so that it's less likely to eject while it's in a bag or something like that.
Was that a problem sometimes? Right, you hit the button by accident?
Hey, if you were a silly person who didn't put it in a protective case. Yeah.
That's very judgmental, I feel, Ian, but okay.
I said they were silly.
That's judgmental.
Well, they are if you're not putting a breakable, if you're not putting it in a case. Okay. But it's very, very sleek. By getting rid of the 3D, which at this point, almost no one... I mean, most people use it as a novelty. I never really used it.
How many games actually required a 3D element?
Well, none of them required it.
I thought there were some portions of some games that you really needed a 3D part.
No, there were games that made great use of it.
But it wasn't required.
It wasn't required.
Okay.
Everyone says Link Between Worlds used the 3D very well, but it was not required. You did need the 3DS XL. You need the XL or the new part.
You need the
new part for something like Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yes. Okay.
So you get all that benefit, and by taking away the 3D that people basically don't really use, Nintendo barely uses it. They didn't even put it in Sun and Moon, I don't think. Or if they did, it's minimal. I know they used it very minimally in X and Y. You have a much thinner top screen. So one of the big problems I think people complained about with the XL, and which is why I moved down to the new Nintendo 3DS size and not the new Nintendo 3DS XL. Fuck all this. Is because it was so top heavy.
Sure.
So now you have a much sleeker, slimmer design.
Okay, let's back up a bit. When they announced the 3DS, you're coming, hot off of the regular DS, which did fantastic. You had the DS Lite, which is the de facto version of that, which everyone loved, right?
Yeah.
Which what I had, everyone had. 3DS is a cooler name versus upgrade to DS. It built in
DSU.
the 3D sort of gimmick, and it was a gimmick at the time, 5-6 years ago. Going back to, I went to CES 2010.
3D TVs.
3D TVs were all the rage in like 2010 to 2011. They tried to push them for a couple of years. No one fucking bought them for 2 reasons. One, they were really expensive. 2, they didn't work properly. You had to be positioned in the right space in the room with the fucking glasses on. 3rd, everyone just got done upgrading in the late 2000s to the brand new LCD LED TVs. Not even LEDs were out, even really, LCDs. So then you got to throw away that TV and buy a nice $2,500 3D TV. No, didn't work. But at the time, also in movie theaters, Avatar came out in 2009. 3D movies made a comeback. 3D movies were seen as, oh, it's cool again. Look at this technology. Go in the theaters, and we all went and saw some 3D movies. Oh yeah, it's cool. But it was, by and large, a gimmick. 3D movies have sort of died out. It used to be, even a couple of years ago, that the amount of showings for something like Guardians of the Galaxy, there were more 3D showings than regular. If you look now, regular showings have come back. People did not buy into 3D as much as the marketers wanted you to, I think.
Right.
So I think Nintendo recognized that after a few years and realized, you know what, it's cool to have the name 3DS, but are people using the 3D after the 3DS? I never used it when I used my 3DS, or rarely did.
I turned it on. I would always turn it on, like, to see how well it was done in a game, or if I saw a level that looked like it would be particularly cool looking in 3D, I would play it. But if I used it 20% of the time, I would be surprised.
Which is why I guess this appeals to a lot of people, because you drop the 3D part, no one cares. I don't care. You drop the price to $150, which, by the way, is half the price of the Switch. So Nintendo is sort of hedging their bets against, very few people are saying the Switch is too expensive nowadays. I think that the price point's perfect for what it is.
I think it's fine.
But this is going to bridge that gap, which we can get into earlier, or get into later, that we both thought about and even discussed off air, was that this is going to keep the system alive for another year, maybe a year and a half. You have those third-party developers to give them a chance to get out their final games on this platform before they take all their games in and go to the Switch, and you have that one unified platform probably for the next 5-6 years.
Right.
After that point, it's a natural fit, and then you will get to that point. Give it a couple years, 3 years, where you have your mini Switch potentially. So if people think that the regular Switch is too big to put around in their silly kids in their bags and not protecting them, the mini Switch will eventually probably come out, which will be smaller, one piece, and that'll replace something like the 2DS at some point. That's my opinion. I think that could be a possibility.
Yes.
Now, it's not going to have the same touch features and stuff, but I mean, at the end of the day, you can get around that stuff and work around that. Or maybe they'll come out with a mini Switch that does it. I don't know. The whole point is that this is going to be the bridge, I think, to just the unified Switch. I don't see they're coming out with a replacement to this anytime soon. Me personally, I don't see that.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't think they do either. I think now that the Switch is out in people's hands and they're seeing how people are using it, and now that I've talked to more people, I use it as a portable. Other people have used it almost entirely as a console. I think they realize that they would be fracturing the base maybe of the Switch. If I would imagine someone at Nintendo is looking at it right now and going, okay, yes, this risk of a unified console is actually maybe going to work out for us. But this is obviously their safety, just to see for the next year, to see what happens.
Oh, sure. I mean, if it wasn't for the 3DS during the Wii U period, Nintendo would have sold nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would have been the end of Nintendo. No, not the end, but it would have been a bad few years and some people thrown off of boards and off of buildings.
Would have been the ramen years.
The ramen years at Nintendo of Japan?
Yeah.
They close out the cafeteria, pass out cup of noodle to everyone.
Yeah, it's just cup of noodle.
So I'm interested in this because I did not have a new 3DS or new 3DS XL. I do like the colors. What US is getting? What we're getting, the neon blue one,
the blue and black. I like the I like the white and orangey goldy.
I'm gonna call it the creamsicle colors.
Yeah.
I do like the creamsicles, and that's coming out, I think, in the Asian regions, in Australia,
Japan, and it's in Japan and I think Australia.
Why don't they give us the choice, or else they're probably gonna do 14 different limited editions that get scalped?
Who knows? I won't be getting one, though. It's sad. I really like the way it looks, but I just upgraded to the new Nintendo 3DS non-XL. Fuck the naming.
It's a really bad name.
Yeah.
But this is one of the reasons why that you think they're not going to be producing NES Classic Edition anymore. They want to focus on other.
And it's kind of what I've said from day one. Nintendo is not. It's not an infinite. They don't have infinite space, infinite production lines. There had to have been some reason why they said they weren't doing it at the time. This was an unknown product, and now that this product is announced, I think it makes perfect sense. They've just got other shit on their plate, and this is not something that they care about right now. And that's not to apologize for it, because, like I said in the last one, they did a horrible job of communicating with the public. But this is why they can't. They're not just not doing it to not do it.
Let's put it this way. If the 3DS was dead and gone, let's just say it came out a couple years sooner, there was no replacement, and there wasn't another product coming out, so you basically just had the Switch and nothing else, then maybe they'd be more likely to say, okay, let's put the proper resources into getting this NES Classic done correctly into people's hands that want it more. But being that the Switch is doing well beyond their expectations, they have a new 2DS out. Even though the NES Classic would still make them money, it's not worth their time in comparison, which to me and you is insane to think about. But to them, that's just how they're doing business in their weird way.
I think it actually makes perfect sense to me. I understand why it pisses people off. It's upsetting to me from that aspect, but it also makes sense. Sometimes you just have to look at business coldly.